teaching space, the studio at Pamela's Patterns in Vernon, Connecticut. I designed the 117 knit column skirt because I had a lot of customers ask me to come up with a skirt that they could use their lightweight knits, ITYs, lightweight sweater knits, rayon knits, anything that's really lightweight. So this skirt really fits the bill. And even though you're working with these lightweight knits, because it's lined, it gives you extra coverage so it doesn't show every lump, bump, and scallop that you might not want to show. I wanted to demonstrate a few of the techniques for making this skirt, and so I hope you'll enjoy it. We're going to start with your waistband. So the first thing you want to do is measure where you want the waistband to sit. Make sure that you measure this against your skin and that it is a snug measurement. Cut a strip of your fabric that is the same as your waist measurement and then put a seam in it, which will make it just slightly smaller than your waist. Fantastic elastic you're going to use at its full width and cut that 1 inch smaller than your waist. Overlap and stitch so that is even a little bit smaller still. Now we're going to encase the elastic into the waistband. So I'm going to pull that waistband piece right over the elastic snug. And I'm going to put pins in horizontally. And I'm really kind of snugging it down, so I'm kind of pulling that fabric a little bit and putting a pin in so it's butting up right next to the elastic. I'm not pinning into the elastic. So you can see now that I have the pins in here, and hopefully you can see here too there's a little bit of gathering, and that's because the elastic is a little bit smaller than the waistband piece itself. So I'm going to set this aside and I'm going to get the skirt ready next. I'll be putting the skirt and the lining together, but first I just wanted to talk about the lining. There is a short lining in these skirts that will really smooth out your figure nicely. This one I'm using an Antron Tricot, which is your basic slip fabric, and it has a lot of stretch. You could also use a lightweight jersey, or if you wanted something with more control, you could use a nylon lycra like you would find in bathing suit fabric for even more control. I have my lining stitched together on the side seams, and I have this wrong side out. I have the skirt stitched together on the side seams with the right side out. Now I can just insert the lining into the skirt and match up the side seams. So it'll just fall right inside there, and now I'll pin. I cut my skirt into a maxi length because at this point I can't decide whether I want it short or long. So if I have the fabric, a lot of times I'll just decide after I get it made. Pin the skirt together so the skirt and the lining are wrong sides together, and pin about 1 inch down from the top edge because we're going to baste this together, the two pieces. So the basting stitches will just go right along the top here, maybe like 1/4 inch down. Those stitches will eventually probably break because we're going to serge it or zigzag it with the sewing machine so that it'll be nice and strong. And you can see that it's pinned all the way around, and now we're ready to go to the sewing machine. You can see the elastic is inside the waistband casing, and I have the zipper foot installed. I'm going to rest the zipper foot so this side of the foot is resting right up against the ridge of that elastic. I don't want to stitch through the elastic, just next to it. And so I'll just be feeling that that ridge is right next to the elastic. I have my lining basted to the skirt. I've got the elastic basted into the waistband. You can see that the waistband is slightly smaller than the skirt. We want it that way so it will actually stretch into the skirt and look really flattering on. To get the waistband prepared, I have it folded at the seam right here, the back, and I'm going to put that to the center back. And then at the halfway point, I have put in a pin to mark the halfway point. I'll also want to find the quarter points, so I can just fold this in half again and put in a pin at the quarter point. On the skirt, I've got this already folded so that the side seams are together. So now I just need to mark the center front and center back to match everything up. So I'll call this my center back and line these up, pin them together, follow all the way around the skirt to match up each of these quarter points. I will first show you how to set this in with the sewing machine, and we are going to keep the zipper foot on. We're actually going to use a very narrow zigzag of a width of about 1.5. When I go to stitch this, I'm going to be stretching it so that I'm stretching the waistband to fit the skirt. You might not think that you can do a zigzag stitch with a zipper foot, so you need to have that zigzag be very narrow, like 1.5, and believe it or not, you'll be able to do a zigzag with that zipper foot. I'm going to straddle the stitch that I basted. So it's going to go right over that stitch if at all possible. This sewn on. When I flip this back up, if you see any of your basting stitches, you can just take those out really easily. And your band is finished. Now I'm going to show you how to do this on a serger. The serger foot has two little raised marks. These marks line up with the left and right needle behind it. You need to know where that left needle mark is for the stitching. Also, to get the skirt, which is a circle, into the machine and next to the blade, I'll raise the needles, raise the foot, and I'll pull on the thread chain, which is taking the stitches off the stitch fingers in the needle plate. I've got my waistband on top so that I can see that basting stitch that was next to the elastic, and because I released the stitches off the stitch fingers, I can wiggle this right into the under the foot and up and against the blade. I'm lining up this mark on the foot with this basting stitch right here. Make sure you lower your presser foot. Take one, we did not. I'll stretch the waistband to fit and then just again stitch in small increments following that mark on the foot with the basting. I'll continue around to the other side and then show you a really neat trick for exiting off a circle. I'm almost around my circle, and so I'll show you a great way to exit off. You can see that there are two straight stitches in the serge stitch, and as I overlap, I just want to make sure they're lined up with the markings on the foot. After I've overlapped about an inch, To exit off a circle smoothly, raise your foot, turn this to the back, lower the foot, and serge. You'll be able to cut your thread tail and have it look really smooth instead of angling off the edge. I've got my skirt done. Now I just have to decide what length I want. Skirt fitting is very easy compared to any other thing that you need to fit, and this skirt is easiest of all. If you want some great ideas on how to fit a skirt so that the side seams hang straight, you can watch the sew along on the Magic Pencil Skirt, and it will give you some great tips on how to make sure that the skirt is sitting on your waist properly. Also, if you want some great hemming techniques, you can watch the sew along for the classic t-shirt dress, and it will give you a great hem, a blind hem for knits. I thought I would show you a couple of skirts that I've done. This is an ITY knit with a border print in a maxi. And here's another ITY border print in a shorter version. I kind of like the border prints. This skirt looks really good in solid colors, but it's so much more fun to make in these prints and stripes. If you don't think that you can wear a stripe going around your body, think again. They're really very slimming and very stylish. There's also a template in the pattern that you can do a high-low hem. This lace one was lined completely, although you could just do it to skirt length and have the legs be bare, but it's a high-low, so shorter in the front, longer in the back. I hope you enjoy making your skirts. They only take about an hour. Thanks for watching, and please subscribe.